All right, everyone. Sorry for the delay. Welcome to another all keys race in the tournament. It's a quarterfinals. Just VRez versus
Yep.
Dan H.
8 people remaining. I think all the semi are all the last round's matches done? I think they are.
There was one earlier on today. I don't know what the result is, but we can look that up as we play here. I think there's one more. Pro JN, I believe.
Oh right,
Has
yep,
not yet
Jan's
done
match. Yeah, I'm just looking now. Yep. So that's tomorrow morning. That'll be done within 12 hours.
So we got both players on the way here. I'm gonna have to fix the cropping on Dan's screen. Why don't you take us through the opening? What have yous in this category?
So we're going through Magic Cave here. We grabbing a magic container at the end and hopefully timing the kills properly to get a 50-point p-bag drop on the last enemy. Looks like both players have already screwed up the timing, so we'll see if they get lucky. And Rez does not. Dan also does not, so see if they decide. I'm pretty sure Rez is just going to go straight to Shield Town. We'll see if Dan decides to go to the Trophy Cave early here. And he is going to do that. Right, Rez got a fairy encounter, unfortunately. Not the optimal start for both players.
No, and I'm pulling Rez's audio, and I have half my headphones on, so I only hear like a few beeps. So I've been trying to fix that for lately. It's been a hell of a start here to this race at 10:03 p.m. when it was supposed to be a 9:30 start. But we're going here, and we're moving on. Dan is going into Trophy Cave to make up that XP, and Rez is pressing on through Shield Town here.
Yeah, so they'll be a little out of sync for basically the next 8 or 9 minutes, and they'll reconvene once they enter Jump Town and get back on the same kind of route. Just doing things a little out of order here for Dan. He will grab shield.
Have you ever heard this game audio left channel only?
Yeah, I have. Some people stream with, I think Rez, I know Simple does it. I'm not sure if Rez has his that way.
Yeah, it is, because I'm pulling his audio.
Yeah, so yeah, if you just have one headphone in, it does sound kind of interesting. You hear like the bass line in one headphone.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's slowing my heartbeat down as well. I gotta put both headphones on here now. We're into it. We're in pbags for Rez. Rez will be on his way to pick up this heart container.
Yeah, he's gonna try to skip the forced bubble encounter here by taking an encounter, a random encounter as it's walking around. Looks like he timed it well, and he got it.
So you're going to see, it appears that Rez is far ahead right now, but remember that Dan H did go into Trophy Cave a couple seconds ago. So they're only going to really sync up out of Palace. Actually, at Jump Town, they're going to sync back up. So we won't know, in fact, who exactly has the early lead and who doesn't until then. And Attack 4 in Palace 1 is going to play in effect, be in effect here as well.
Yeah, so Dan will have a better chance of getting it. He needs just one 200-point p-bag in the Palace. Rez needs both of them. He needs both drops to be 200-point bags, so unlikely that he gets it, but it is possible. And then he, of course, will have to go to, he'll still have to go to Trophy Cave after the Palace. Dan can just walk straight to Jump Town.
And Dan gets the encounter on the road tile very early, doesn't elect to respawn it, and just decides to go right through this bubble encounter, as Rez is going to go on here to the left and pick up a key.
Yep, the bot's getting his way. Of course. Bots in Palace 1 are your worst enemy. A lot of random movement. And they do a lot of damage here with Life 1. Somehow that Stalfos actually got Rez there with the stab. Usually don't see that. So there go the beam swords for him. That's going to cost him a little time. Oh, and Dan gets knocked into the water by a bubble.
Yeah, that was that knock into the water was about 3 jumps coming at that point. He barely missed a few, then got a free jump, and then unfortunately took that jump back into the water. And he's going to have to try this one again. He's down a life now.
Yeah. Yeah, early death is, as long as he can avoid taking another one, should be okay. You can always get the backup life in the graveyard if he wants to.
He takes his second encounter on the trip from Parappa Cave to Palace 1 there.
Yeah, fortunately avoids the next one. Sometimes when you take that early one, leaving the bubble screen, you end up getting another one on the way up. So no beams for Dan either.
Rez grabs another key there on his way to the last key in the palace, the one that doesn't drop, last key that doesn't drop from the boss itself. 3 keys total in this palace.
Yeah, Rez just took a couple of hits. He's going to actually be safe here on this Doom Rattler. I think he's probably a little upset that he tried to get past that bot a little too fast instead of just killing it after it hit him the first time. So he's down to 2 bars. 2 bot hits will kill him. Really 2 hits from anything, almost, except for these tin suits in the palace will kill him.
Of course, at this stage of the game, you're not going to see many people going for that fairy for the life refill. Rez is going to press on. There's his 1 hit from a bot, so
Yep.
he's beeping now.
Yeah, he does have shield. He will make it to the next bot room, and we'll probably see him use shield there, which will give him... he'll be able to take 1 more hit with shield cast, but that's it. I wouldn't even... I don't know. We'll see. If Rez does make it all the way back to the fairy without dying, I still tend to think he won't get it, but you never know.
Well, there's his attack 2 right there, and we're going to be coming here on a... Well, we're not, because we skipped it. Sorry about that. And pbags coming up a little later, but we do have a Doom Knocker, like Gumme.
Yeah, Rez used to not do the Stelfo skips, and I think he switched so he wouldn't have to deal with so many bots in the palace.
And there's Dan's level up. Since he went to Trophy Cave, he does get the level up at the Doom Knocker, just like if he got the pbag drop in the Magic Container Cave.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so he's good on XP as long as he gets that 1, and there's Rez's other shield cast. Just for safety in here. So there's really only one more... There's 1 more bot for Rez that he has to worry about. Everything else is really under his control, whether or not he gets hit. That's why I said he might not just get the fairy, because once he gets the fairy, he's already past that final bot, so...
Well, he's
We'll
1
see.
for 1 so far on the pbags.
Yep, now he's up to the same odds of Dan getting it. Yeah, Rez skips that fairy.
He does have to worry about the Doom Rattle, though, in the next screen, correct?
Yeah, he will kill it, so he's not going to go for the skip since he knows he can still get attack 4 with another bag. So I actually think it's less dangerous to kill it. I think you're more apt to taking a hit if you go for the skip. At least that's just for me, I guess. But yeah, he makes quick work of that.
And here's the decision time, where we see if he gets attack 4 or not, and he's going to get attack 4.
Yeah, he's going to get it, and it would be a shame for Dan if he didn't with the early trophy.
Oh,
Dan a better chance to get it, so we'll see.
Yeah, Dan picks up the candle. He's going to have 2 50-50 chances here to get the pbag coming up.
And Rez, nicely done on Horsehead. No hits after all those bot hits, so...
So Rez beeping since the last key room, pretty much. And he's going to be placing the gem in Palace 1.
Yeah, not a bad time. I didn't actually see the exact time, 8:19, somewhere around there. It's a pretty good time. And attack 4, so he's happy. I missed it, but Dan did not get his pbag, I can tell by the XP, so he's going to need that second drop to be a pbag if he wants attack 4.
So he's down to 1 out here.
Yep.
He's hoping for the one-time kid. And Rez is going to be on his way to the Trophy Cave. We saw that before when Dan didn't get the pbag in Magic Container Cave.
Yeah, so it looks like no doubt Rez definitely has the lead here, but we'll see by how much when we'll get the jump town splits. Dan does get his bag, thankfully, so we're going to have a double attack 4 race here. Pretty close to soft locking there for Dan.
Yeah, for those who don't know, if you get the menu to level up as you're exiting the screen, you do soft lock in this game.
Yeah, I'm guessing he was aware and just kind of he knew that he was close, but he wasn't gonna hit it. But you never know. It was really he was really close to the edge there.
So he's going to place the gem now in Palace 1. VReznor is in Jump Town, the town of Rudo, on your scorecard.
Yeah, I didn't see the entry, but he talked to that lady at 9:53, so I'll just we'll see when Dan talks to her.
Yeah, he has no split for that town entry.
Yeah, I just wasn't watching on the actual entry, so that's all right. We'll get it a little bit late. It's gonna be probably about 30 seconds or so, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice clean walk for Dan here, just right on the road. Doesn't have to do any fancy steps, doesn't have to do any triggering of overworld encounters. Just follow the path.
It's going to be more than 30 seconds. I'm terrible at math.
So 36 and 7, so it's like 42 seconds.
Hmm.
And now Rez is in Jump Cave on his way to the middle section of Western Hyrule.
Yep, and he'll take life 2 in here, assuming his drop isn't on this Gorilla coming up. Should get the XP. Which it was. Naturally. So he'll take that later, I guess.
All right, why don't you let people know how this walk here with Bagu works?
Yeah, so we're going to wait for the encounter to spawn here and just pray that you get a good... as Rez did right there on the fairies left alone, a good second spawn so you can kind of get around there in the swamp. Rez basically did that perfect. If you get through that first 2 spawns clean, you can usually make it to Bagu pretty clean. That third one's usually not a problem, but it's a matter of just kind of timing it out. You did see him waste a couple steps when he got to the spot. He was going to wait for the initial spawn, which is important to make the second spawn happen a little bit sooner.
Yeah, so Rez only took 1 overworld encounter so far, and that was the bubble encounter, the bubble skip.
Yep, that's completely intentional. So he's on pretty good pace here. He lost some time in Palace 1 off his splits just from losing beam swords early there.
Let's see how Dan does.
Dan actually, yeah, interesting strat there, walking into the swamp. I don't know if he did that on purpose or by mistake, but it worked for a little bit, and then the second encounter kind of got him. He's gonna have to be careful here. He gets a nice back spawn. It's a 1 encounter for Dan. It's not bad at all.
Rez is grabbing life here in Saria.
Yeah, and since he's got attack 4, you likely won't see him. He's actually not even going to take life 2 next. He'll take magic 2 next and just save the life level for later. So he won't even take the refill here in town since he's already got beams. Can just save a few seconds there.
And Dan
probably see Dan use it.
Yeah, and Dan is in Saria as well. He's 2 bars of life, 2 bars of magic.
Yeah, even though he does have attack 4, he'll likely, I would assume he'll refill and then cast life as it's refilling. But he will also get magic 2. He already took the life. Usually we take life in that cave. Rez, I guess, likes to skip it to save it for a little later.
And here we are in Death Mountain time.
Yep, attack 4 makes this place a lot easier. Not that it's necessarily easy. Rez already losing his beam, unfortunately. To what other than a bot. And then he gets it right back. That's probably why he likes to save it.
It's a good strategy, and I'm in awe of how people or whoever initially did the routing and stuff was able to plan for all these little things where you're taking a magic level up after you use a fairy to get through a door, or well, not to get through a door, but to pick up an item, so to speak, in this category, or using life to get your beams back at a specific spot. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's well thought out, and I feel like a lot of them are backup strats too, where just if one thing happens, then you kind of just do that, and it works out well usually.
All right, Dan's about to enter Death Mountain now. Rez has to deal with a couple bots, and the first instance of a red Dyra, but again, attack 4, and it's 3 hits, I believe.
4 hits for the red
Okay.
ones. Yeah, orange is 3.
So he
attack 4.
He must have got a double in there.
Yeah, he did. He'll be going for double hits on all, including that Gorilla. Most of the enemies in here, you'll see Rez employing the double hits. There's a few that he won't because of the proximity of certain other enemies in there, or like the low ceilings in a couple of the caves, I believe. But he's pretty comfortable doing them.
Does get bopped there twice by that orange Dyra. Had to use the life spell, but then also got a refill. So what's the downside of getting a refill here over pbags when you're already attack 4?
Yeah, I mean, when you're already attack 4, it's not as big of a deal. I mean, you want to see at least 1 or 2 pbags in Death Mountain, so you can skip pretty much everything in Palace 2. But if it's not the end of the world if you get none. Especially if you don't take life 3 here in Death Mountain, which Rez will not. I'm not sure if Dan is going to. We'll find out. There he goes. He takes it right there.
Yeah, he took 3 hits on bots in that room.
So that's runner's choice. You can take life 3 here or in Palace 2 if you want to save it for there. So yeah, Rez, that's basically like saving 300 XP or getting another extra p-bag and a half. That even if he gets red jars, he's still got a little bit of XP.
And that just goes towards your attack 5 earlier in Palace 5.
Yeah, if you're comfortable with your combat and you're not going to take damage and whatnot, you could even save life 3 for Palace 3, where a lot of the enemies just give you a ton of XP and they're easy to kill. So if you want to just save it, it's not a big deal.
All right, we're going to pick up the hammer there.
Yep, sub 17 minutes is a very good time. Rez is only 7 seconds away from his PB right now. Actually made up time on the last couple of splits overall, after Palace 1, I should say. So he's cruising along. Dan's entering Hammer Cave now. He's got to go through a few of these caves to get to the hammer.
They're setting up for the bro hug. As they pass by each other.
Yep.
Oh, they're gonna soft lock because they're both gonna transition at the same time. they robbed us of the bro hug. So.
Man, if only we could have multiplayer Zelda II LAN parties or something.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a script for multiplayer Zelda 1 cooperative. Yeah. Why not? Just need somebody. Yeah, I just need somebody to get on it.
Alright, Rez is just ducking in these caves to reset the encounter spawn timers so he doesn't have to deal with them in the desert there.
Alright, Dan
grabs the hammer.
Yep.
Still about, he was, what was it, like 18, 17, I think, or so. So he's about a minute and a quarter, maybe close to a minute and a half back. I mean, other than losing the beams in Palace 1, Rez is near perfect at this point on the run. He's no unintentional encounters or anything. And not really too many problems in Death Mountain. Knockback hits actually really add up. They're a couple seconds each time you get knocked back by an enemy and lose your momentum. So a lot of hits can kind of add up. You know, you get hit 10 times, that's 20 seconds right there. Or so. I don't know if it's exact. Rez. Okay, nicely done.
Yeah, Rez
So
is
Rez wastes some steps there to set up that walk.
still clean through Medicine Cave here. And this is, we're going to need to pick up the medicine here to get the fairy spell.
Yeah, this other than the Bagoose walk, this next one as he leaves Medicine Cave is probably the toughest encounter to avoid, depending on what spawn you get here. So we'll see how he does leaving. Dan is exiting Death Mountain, making his way to the bridges now.
Yeah, so I think it's correct me if I'm wrong, it might be like a minute and 30 seconds difference
Yeah,
between the two.
it's close. It's
Yeah.
close to a minute and a half or so.
So I was trying to remember if Rez left at 1938 or it was 1838, but I think it was 1838. There's a 1-up for Rez. Now, Dan H did lose a life in Palace 1. There is
We'll see in a second if he's going to grab that. Nope.
Yeah, there's an additional 1-up down there south in that desert.
Yeah, so he'll just skip a Death Abuse, maybe even 2 in Palace 4, as long as he doesn't take any more. It's not a big deal. And I actually didn't see Rez's exit of the Medicine Cave, but I don't remember hearing the encounter noise, so... Except for that last one where he took at the boulder, but you almost always get that one.
This is about the 4th Dan H match I've called in the last 2 tournaments. And every time he plays, he does something a little bit fun and a little bit different. One time he was going to like all the places where Link talks. Another time he made the elevator in Great Palace glitch up into the ceiling. And this time he just started to mow down forest tiles on his way to Medicine Cave. So
yeah, I always forget you can do that when I'm playing for some reason, but it's fun. It's funny to see people do that sometimes.
Yeah, I tried to spell out. Yeah, I tried to spell out bad words one time, but when you take an encounter, they come back. So it really, I lost a lot of time.
Impossible. Yeah.
But Rez gets downstabbed there, and he'll be on his way to the back of the town to get the fairy spell. Fairy spell is, you can use it to go through doors, but not really in this category. Its main use in this category would be to just fly over encounters in certain areas where the route calls for it, or more importantly, to pick up spells. Then you can skip that fanfare, humble brag animation where Link holds up the item for an hour and a half.
Yeah, it saves a little bit of time. You got to pause to obviously queue it up, but the fanfare animation is, I think, almost 3 seconds long, if not a little bit more. So it's worth it at the higher levels if you're trying to just shave off time everywhere. And there's actually a lot of places where you do it, like as you were saying earlier, where it doesn't even really cost you anything because you refill your magic pretty much right away.
As the amateur here in the commentary booth, I believe a couple of places where I do see it happen like that is the item in 4, getting the heart container outside of Palace 5 because you're leveling up, and I believe sometimes in Valley of Death as well.
Yeah, so leaving Palace 5,
the bridge,
ferrying that heart. Leaving Palace 6, you can ferry over the bridge. Leaving Valley of Death, you can get that jar that's right at the entry, and you can kind of get a free spell cast.
Yeah, I might be
spawn.
I might be mixing categories. I feel like I've seen Anti leave Kasuto, and then ferry on that bridge, and yeah, probably because he picks up the jar.
Yeah.
Afterwards, yeah, because he wouldn't be counting up from Palace 6 at that time still, because
and you'll see it like at the Palace 3 item. If the runner has magic, be able to ferry the item and then immediately take magic 3.
Well, Rez takes 1 encounter on the way to Palace 2 there.
Yeah, not a bad entry.
Entry at about
the free jar.
23:42.
Yeah, I mean, he's, for all intents and purposes, Rez is on PB pace here. I know he's got time save leaving this palace. On his splits, at least, but yeah, he's certainly got a pretty commanding lead at this point over Dan. Dan gets another P-bag there in Heart Cave. Both these guys got good XP, it looks like. And Dan actually even, yeah, so Dan already took life 3 even, and he has pretty comparable XP to Rez's. So he is fine. They can both skip all kinds of enemies in here. Rez will get
600, I think he needs to find total.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry. Yeah, 600 he needs to find total to set himself up.
Yeah, he might not even take life in here, as like I was saying earlier. We'll see. Like, if he needs the refill, he might take it, but might just save it. So far, though, looks like he might need that refill when the time eventually comes.
I did not see if Dan took an encounter, but he was set up to take the encounter on the road tile, and I think he just thought maybe he could slink by and got it in the swamp. Perez is cruising along here. 4 total keys, not including the one that drops from the boss in Palace 2. And the item is the glove, which lets you break the blocks like Dan H is jumping over right now. Those special kind of blocks. You can break them with your sword.
Yeah, it's the magical glove somehow. Turns your sword into some sort of sledgehammer.
Yeah, it's like Dr. J's hot hands turns you into like a pro basketball player. It's awesome.
Yeah, the boots let you cruise along on the water. There's just all kinds of cool items in this game.
See, Rez
I
got
don't know what that was.
Yeah. Rez was, I think he was
thought he had life queued, I think, and, wanted to refill his life and then grab that red jar, but he did not have life queued.
Well, it would have been awesome if he was able to grab that jar as he cast Fairy. It would have been one of those things we were talking about it before. Stuff.
Yeah, you can do that. There's like, you can kind of just grab that real quick and cast the fairy spell and still get your refill. But he didn't.
So here he is in the item room. He's going to grab the glove. He might despawn that second Iron Knuckle because of that bot. Nope. He killed it.
Nope.
I guess just in time.
Yeah, he killed it too soon, it looks like. Sometimes that would still... I'm not sure the exact mechanics. I know it has to have a bot spawn, usually pretty early. But yeah. Didn't matter anyway. He wasn't about to kill them, I guess. He wanted to fairy the item.
Still plenty of...
his XP is... Yeah, I mean, he's still got plenty of enemies left. But I don't know. I usually rather would just kill them and get the attack level sooner. He won't be able to kill this Moa here going down the elevator. You just
if he
stun walk through it like that. But
if he killed both of those, he would have attack 5 already. Not that it would make that big of a difference here, but he could have just pogoed over all these enemies on his way to...
Yeah. Yeah, and ferrying the item, it's hard to say. You'd have to really break it down to see which method would have been faster. Because killing the IKs, they are 4 hits, slowing down to kill them a little bit, and then you're not ferrying the item. Or yeah, I guess you still could technically ferry the item after killing them. Save the fanfare time.
And I don't think it would be 8 total hits because you can back one of them up into the other and double Iron Knuckle them. And get a couple I'm thinking like 2 stabs, you back the one into the other.
No, usually you can't. They're too far away to get. To double them up in that room.
And then with
maybe
the
in
door,
a randomizer.
Probably in randomizer there are spawns where they would show up like that.
Yeah, I've seen that several times. It's actually kind of fun when that happens.
Yeah, and then you had the door to deal with anyway, so you couldn't jump into the door, and then they hit you.
It's the best when it's 2 blue IKs and they're throwing beams at high and low at you.
You gotta experience the rooms in 6 where it's 4 blue IKs and a Doom Rattle or Doom Rattler, a Doom Knocker.
Yeah.
Sorry, Doom Knocker.
It's just turn off the console time, or just cast Thunder, I guess if you have it.
Or just die 100 times and randomizer by Dig Shake. Google it.
Yeah, I'm terrible at the rando.
Sorry, I think
at least doing them fast, but
I believe Dark Magician is the only person who's good at the rando.
Yeah.
But Rez is on his way here. He's got the 50. He's only 17 XP away, and he'll get that. Oh, he's bouncing over that guy.
Yeah, he's not gonna take life. He's just gonna go. I don't think he has enough XP.
No, he doesn't.
Does he?
No, he doesn't.
He needs 100.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna have to go kill that red IK. Not a big deal. I was just wondering, like, why are you skipping that? But that's gonna cost him, 15 seconds or so.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I had to double check my math. I'm like, oh, if Justin's correcting me, I'm good. I'm wrong.
Yeah. If it was 5-1-2, he would have been fine. So you don't really need any XP if you still have magic 1. I had to double take there real quick too, because it's usually not something he would forget, I suppose, but I think also in most cases he would already have life 3, so
he's probably listening to his awesome commentary as he plays, and he's nice and relaxed.
Yeah.
And Dark Magician's talking in chat. He probably got distracted. But there it is, right there. It is your level 6 coming out of 2.
Yep. Yeah, it's important that he went back to kill that enemy. It's well worth the 15 seconds or so that he wasted.
And Dan's at life
leveling.
Dan's at life 3, but he's good enough right now to get attack 6 at the gem. Doesn't have to kill anything else.
Yeah, if you get life 3, you just need 200 rather than the 100 res needed.
Rez having a little target practice on those red moas.
Dan's in a little bit of health trouble here. I don't know if he has a drop set up. So if he does, he'll be hoping for a jar. If not, I think shield will allow him to get hit once by helmet head. He's not even going to try for a drop there. I don't know if he knows his count or not, but cast shield and see what happens here. Yeah, helmet head, if you fight him like he's doing right now, just a couple of quick safe stabs. Went off screen a little bit there, but he did take the one hit, didn't die. As Rez enters Palace 3. Same time, Dan is leaving Palace 2.
He took no encounters on the way to Palace 3 or on the island where the palace is located. And he'll be picking up 4 keys in here, and starting with the BGT key in a couple rooms. Got to make sure you don't miss that one.
Yeah, don't want to forget that one. It's tough to miss.
Did he do that in his race against you?
He might have. I want to say it sounds like familiar that he did it in one of his races. I don't know if it was the one against me or not.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it cost him a trip to the bracket round. Because I'm sure that's the only way he lost time in that race. But there it is. Rez gets the BGT key, and Dan's going to be on his way to Palace 3 himself in a little bit. He's walking there now.
Yeah, just taking some road encounters here, and hopefully not a tomb encounter here. There we go. He makes it to the road. He risks not going to the tomb. Okay, he had enough steps. I think one more step would have spawned an encounter.
Ferry's up and over, and let's see if he takes an encounter on the island here. Once he gets by this screen.
Yeah, the island can be tricky, and that's one where I feel like everyone kind of has their own... There's a bunch of different tiles you can wait on. Dan's going to wait on that one. I've seen probably 3 or 4 different tiles people utilize there, whether entering or leaving the palace, to wait for that first spawn so you can get past it.
I actually saw somebody and successfully enter the palace without taking an encounter and not wait a couple weeks ago.
I've seen that too. Yeah, it's a little riskier. You do have to get more, I guess, random walk luck as Rez ferries the item as taking the magic refill. But yeah, that is definitely possible without waiting. That's high risk, low reward though, doing that. I mean, you only usually got to wait for a second and a half or so. Rez easily making it through that lava bot room. There's Dan grabbing the BGT key himself.
The BG key.
BG key. Rez gets a jar, decides he doesn't really need it. He's right.
I get nothing more than enjoyment from playing Randomizer by Dick Shake and leaving pbags and red jars on the ground when I don't need them, and having seen people in chat freak out.
Why
did you not
grab
taking
that?
it?
Especially with the pbags, that it's like that's free experience. It's like half the time the way this game works with the XP levels, you just don't need any more XP until you get to a gem.
Yeah. In fact, arriving at certain levels too early, if you can even do that later on in the game, will screw you up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sometimes you want to save those refills or use them at specific times.
See Dan taking Magic 3 there. Both runners are 6-3-3 and probably going to stay at 3-3, leaving the palace. Is that still correct?
Yeah, so Dan does 8-7-7 for his leveling, for his final leveling, but the route is exactly the same as 8-8-6 up until the final, I want to say 2 palaces. I think he takes life 7. Yeah, he takes life 7 out of Palace 5. And then he just takes Magic 7 out of Palace 6, and that's how he ends it. He doesn't take any more levels in Great Palace, so the benefit to that is that, it's not any really faster or slower than the regular route, since you can still do all the other stuff before Palace 5. But, and you get, a higher life level for the end of the game, but you don't get the higher magic level, so another runner's preference kind of thing.
Rez makes it cleanly back into the fairy cave. That's going to bring him back into the graveyard area. And he'll
the reps link there on the island.
And he'll be making his way to the Eastern Continent for the first time.
I believe that Slink was unbuffered, so that was pretty swag. I don't think he paused. And with no tile lines in the desert, it's actually pretty hard to Slink. But I guess he'll probably tell you it's free.
And he'll probably yell at people who don't have a 90-minute PB if they try to do that themselves.
That's true.
Yeah, I've seen that happen. Well, not there, but... All right, we're walking over to the town of Nubaru now on the Eastern Continent. There's a lot of walking to do here before you dive into the next palace. And be very interesting to see how many encounters Rez takes versus Dan, because this is one of the key spots, at least in my opinion, where time can be lost or made up.
Yeah, this is maybe the longest overworld segment in the game, I suppose. There's a few of them that are pretty long. I mean, if you want to count Death Mountain, but it's not a palace, but it's not really an overworld segment either. But,
well, I mean, there's an item in there, so I guess it could be considered, not counted. Just make stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, listen, we can make stuff up if we want to.
That's true.
Yeah.
We can just do whatever we want.
Why not? No one's listening.
2 towns they're going to, and a little fetch quest in the maze before you go back to the maze. So a lot of overworld here. I think I guess going to Palace 6 would be the next longest one after Palace 5.
Even Palace 1, 2, Death Mountain is a little bit of a walk back.
Yeah,
and stuff,
it's a lot of fetching. That's what a lot of this game is, unfortunately, is a lot of walking through, or at least for this category, walking through towns, going to grab some stuff that you need. Some of the categories in this game actually omit most of that stuff, that use the categories that use a lot of the glitches. So you get a much shortened run that does not look anything like this run. Rez using a little bit of pause buffering there, but he does not make it clean to the bridge.
No, he spawned the overworld dudes on the desert tile, so they spawn further out from him than if he was on the the forest, and was unfortunately unable to make it to the bridge in time.
Yeah, usually when you hit that tile, you want to hesitate a little bit up there, so they kind of start moving in towards you and then go. I didn't see if he maybe didn't hesitate enough, or sometimes it's just, bad luck. They just decide to randomly walk down. I think there's a chart on Red Candle. The explaining how the encounters move, and generally, I believe it's a 25% chance of a random walk, but 75% of the time they're going to move, dictated on kind of how Link is moving, so that's why we try to do slight hesitations in certain spots, and...
Like here.
Yeah, like Rez is setting up right now. Mowing down some trees as well. He's forcing all these spawns at specific tiles, and he knows where they're all going to happen.
He misses the skip, though. He's going to set it up again. Tree Mower was his nickname in high school, I believe.
Alright, he gets a second try, so still a little bit of a time save over walking through the screen. I don't think he got that one. Looks like he paused a bit too late.
Yeah, so
he didn't.
Misses two of them and gets an encounter on the way to the kid, and might have missed that one as well.
Yeah, that one looked like it buzzed his hair, but that's weird, because... Yeah, it must have just gone right up over him and then onto him, and he didn't think it was going to do that.
So Rez
finally does get it.
Having some trouble walking to Darunia. Let's see how Dan can keep it clean on the way to the kid.
Yeah, Rez took the one encounter, and Dan's gonna not get that encounter. And he also had trouble with both skips, so especially that second one. But if Dan can, I mean, the Dazzle Walk is pretty free generally, unless you get a fairy that kind of gets in your way. It's those skips at the end that really require the patience and kind of just hitting stuff at the right time. We'll see what Dan gets. He can make up some time, though. He's still going to be pretty far behind, but certainly can make up significant time here.
And there's the second of two sword techniques right there for Rez, the upstab. He did a trick called the Fairy Claws. It's allowed, I guess, in a glitchless category. Hold down on your controller when you cast Fairy, and then you're able to go through the chimney as a fairy instead of using jump and glitching up onto the ceiling, or just doing it the preferred way. Ceiling hopping from a couple of houses over.
Yeah, we'll call it no major glitches, if you will, I suppose. Dan, unfortunately, I believe he did take a fairy or something. I missed it.
And he took the encounter on the forest tile there.
Oh, wow, that skip. He was about to not get it, and the encounter actually turned to the right and gave it to him. He gets the second one, too. So he did overall have a better walk than Rez. He took 1.5 encounters, though, so made up a little time.
So as Rez exits the town here with the Spell of Reflect, which you need for defeating the boss in Palace 4, he's going to have to walk all the way back to Maze Island and hopefully get the glitches. Misses the first skip again.
Yep. Yeah, that first one coming out of Reflect Town is usually the hardest for me. The encounters seem to like to just randomly walk all over the place on that one the most. Does get a second try, and hopefully gets more tame encounters here. He does not.
He's just going to go. That overworld dude was just not cooperating with him.
I think he's just about done with those skips at this point.
Hey, he's on his horse. Dan is about to pick up the spell here, and he's catching up a little bit. So we'll see how Rez does with the walk to Maze Island here. He takes a little bit of a buffer walk to the left on the grass to make sure that he spawns on the grass. So that was very smart right there.
And good pausing, and good job. Wow. All the way in.
Yeah, so the reason, again, why he took the extra steps on the grass was because when you spawn the encounters on the overworld on the grass, they spawn further away from you than if you spawn them on the forest tile. And that's why Rez made sure his steps were going to spawn them on the grass tile. So that was great awareness by Rez there.
Yeah, when they spawn further away from you, as long as you have room to walk up, it's most of the time it's actually pretty free to get past them. So you'll see, he's walking to the right. As soon as they spawn, he'll go up one tile and then keep walking to the right. And then every subsequent spawn after that. If you get the close spawns, though, there's not enough room to do that. So you'll see them pausing, sometimes letting them get in a little bit on you and then kind of going up and around them, or slinking downwards, which we'll talk about, I suppose, later.
Yeah, and I heard that when you try to avoid encounters from above them, it's a lot easier than trying to do it from below. I believe somebody told me that one time.
Yeah, for whatever reason, walking over the encounters versus walking under them seems to yield a little bit more luck.
So Dan has to take this encounter in the forest because that dude was chasing him. Actually, he got up to the desert, but...
Yeah, he's going to go desert strats here.
Yeah. That dude was too close for him to move back down to the grass area, so he had to bail up, and he barely makes it into Maze Island. So one encounter. So overall, Dan gained a good amount of frames there to and from Maze Island.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad walk by any means.
But we are in Palace 4 now for Rez, and he's going to be on his way to pick up the boots here shortly.
Yeah, and he'll be taking all 3 death abuses. He hasn't died yet. He did, of course, lose a lot of time on that last split, but he'll be taking all 3. Dan already died once, so we don't know, I suppose, but almost positive he'll skip the first death abuse. We'll see if he decides to skip any more. I know Dan likes to hoard his lives, so he might try to skip as many as possible, but sometimes you just have to take one to get a magic refill.
And I talked to you about this in earlier races we've commentated on together. Who are you playing versus what are you exactly doing in the race, the strategy thing might come into play where Dan's playing Rez and maybe he just doesn't have the opportunity to save those lives and he has to just exhaust them all.
Yeah, he might. I mean, it's not a huge time save to take the death abuses, but he might decide that every little bit counts. Rez, I don't know if he killed the Doom Knocker or if he let the XP start rolling before he exited, so he might have to jump here when he exits this screen. Yeah, it's still alive. There we go.
So if you kill an enemy and you don't get the experience for it counted towards your overall experience total, the enemy is not considered dead and it will be there next time you transition the screen back.
Yeah, and if it's an enemy that's a drop enemy, it actually will still increment the drop counter, but it will still, as Larry said, it'll still be alive as well. So that early in the run, that can actually be kind of annoying and costly when you kind of know where all your drops are through Death Mountain.
Is this route optimized to the point where you still know what enemy was going to drop what in Great Palace, or do you lose that count somewhere around the line?
No, it's usually around Palace 2 where it kind of goes, because depending on how many bags you get in Death Mountain, you might skip a different amount of enemies in Palace 2, or some people might not be comfortable doing certain, skipping certain enemies and stuff like that. So, yeah that's where it kind of goes Ari, and then you kind of gotta... If you want to set up drops later, it is good for certain spots, but it's not really usually necessary.
All right. So 6 total keys in Palace 4. It is the most key-heavy of the palaces in the game. See Dan picking up the boots right now. Rez already has the boots. He's on his way to the last of the... what do you want to call them? Suicide rooms, I guess?
Lava rooms? Death abuse room, lava rooms. He's going to the dangerous one. I mean, it's not very dangerous if you cast jump, but without jump spell, it's probably the most dangerous room in the palace.
We'll see what Dan does here now.
And he does take it. He was low on health and certainly low on magic, so... And I believe that was the second lava room, so he actually needed that. There was no jar drop chance in there, and he actually needs required magic to cast jump to get a key. The key we saw Rez get just about 30 seconds ago. And then he'll just use the rest of that magic as he goes to the final lava room where Rez is about to go to. Probably will see Dan check for that jar. There is a jar chance in the final lava room. If he gets that jar, he might skip that last death abuse.
So the boss here, Karak, again, we already said you needed the reflex spell, reflex from Darunia to get to defeat it. But the boss gives 301 XP, which you need 399 going into the boss. 499, right? 499?
Nope, 399.
399?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
399 going into the boss.
Yeah, same as P3.
Yeah. Actually,
For this route, at least. If they were doing 887, it is 499.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're both going to need 399. I think we did see. I think it was Eon. Maybe last week in a race, have the exact amount of XP she had. I think 399 in Palace 3, entering Revenak, and we got to see the extra 1 point in action actually help her out.
Still trying to do this in my head. Isn't life 5 800?
Nope, 700.
700? Okay.
Yep. I believe. Or no, it's well, it's definitely 399 that you need. I know that. But I can't remember the exact math. Yeah, I think it's what is it, 7 and 800 right now? The two
It's 700 for Magic 4 and it's 800 for Life 5. And at 399, 301 only puts you at 700.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm almost positive it's 399. I think I'm just. Well, we'll see in a second here when the screen pops. What? Magic 4 and Life 5. Yeah, but it's strange.
There's the gem for Rez, and he's done with Palace 4. So he's going to make the relatively safe walk using the boots right to Palace 5. You just have to take a little bit of a stopover onto the main continent here to find the magic path through the water. The boots do not allow you to walk on every tile in the water. There are only specific tiles where you can, unlike the randomizer by Dig Shake, which you can walk on any water tile within bounds of the map with the boots.
Freedom. I wish you could walk on all the water tiles. That'd be pretty cool.
And CF, if CF is in chat, he'll have to correct me here. I do believe that in using in his Zelda II editor, that there are actually tiles in the Western continent that you can walk on with the boots, not like you'd ever be there with them. Yeah. But I believe there's a couple tiles on the Western continent, but that might have been just me doing stuff wrong. And there's Rez with the Eco Key.
Yeah, he nails it. And you were right. It was 7 and 800, so I guess it is 499 for Karak. For some reason, I thought it was the same, but I guess I was thinking back to my 887 days, so where it actually. But even then, when you're doing 887, it's 899 that you need. So I don't know. It must have been 499 though, because 301 plus 499 is 800. Rez, of course, getting a pbag there. He had the drop set up, but no jar.
Yeah, the game's very good at knowing which one you want and then giving you the other one. Although both players did have attack 8 in this round, and Rez needed both pbags in Palace 1, so I guess we can't complain if we don't get the red jar in Palace 5.
Oh yeah, he tried to get that. I think he was one tile too far for that Michael Jordan free throw line dunk there. Couldn't quite get it. But good block room anyway, just a little bit slower than he probably would have liked.
Here's Dan H. Arriving at Palace 5 now. So Palace 5 is very long, very windy. 5 total keys here. Is this where we divert in strategies between Rez and Dan? Rez will be 866 at the end, and Dan will be...
Yeah, that'll be after they place the gem and get that massive experience from the attack 8 abuse or attack 9, I suppose, or whatever you want to call it. They're going to get about 9,000 experience leaving here. And Dan will just he'll use one extra level. Rez will go 866, Dan will go 867. And then neither of them will really have to kill anything in Palace 6. It doesn't really change what Dan's doing. Doesn't change anything about enemies he has to kill or anything like that. It's still all pretty free. That's the benefit over doing 887. 887, you got to kill a lot of enemies in Palace 6 to get your XP threshold. Same thing with Palace 4. And even Palace 5, you have to kill a little bit more stuff, so really just changes the end game, the very end of the game.
So everyone's favorite cat sitter is correcting me. There are no walkable tiles in the Western continent. I just want to make sure we get the facts right here for everybody.
You mean for a randomizer?
No, for standard.
Vanilla.
Yeah, I thought
there's definitely none on the West, as far as I know.
I could have sworn I loaded it up, and I may have loaded up a randomizer seed just to play around with it. But I could have sworn I loaded it up, and I saw tiles in the West. I'm like, holy crap! I'm like, why would anybody even ever find these? But that's
I mean, there's definitely water tiles in the West, but I don't think you can.
No,
you can walk on them. Although I'm not.
It's
I don't
confirmed.
really go there that often with the boots, so.
Yeah, well, that's what I meant. That's why I'm like, wait a second, because I definitely did see it, but it might have been a randomizer seed by Digshake that I opened up in there just to play around a little bit. But so we're gonna grab the flute here for Rez. Dan H is gonna be on the same path, and we're gonna go grab this key on the porch. Just remind you that this is the quarterfinal match. The winner will move on to play the winner of Simple Dude and Cantaloupe Me, Fat Me, Fap, whatever you want to call him. Good dude, both of them good dudes. Simple versus Fap. I don't know if that's been scheduled yet. Does look like it's been scheduled.
Said, Thursday night or tomorrow night. I guess
tomorrow night.
Yeah,
tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. The winner of this race will take on the winner of Simple Dude versus Fap. And between these two runners, this is their first race together, either head-to-head or in a multiplayer race in Zelda 2 100% all keys. Can't guarantee it's their first race together overall, but it doesn't look like either of them raced a lot of games on SRL, and that's official SRL games where they're counted. I don't know if there's any friendlies.
For Simple and Fap, you mean?
No, I mean Rez and Dan H. This would be their first match.
Yeah, I don't think they've raced before unless it was in I don't even think there would have been a friendly or anything like that. I don't think Dan hasn't played much except for, once the tourney started back up, I think he played. I don't even know if he's done really any practice runs or anything like that, or he just, he's been around so long, Dan kind of knows how to play the game.
Yeah.
So
Dan has
maybe a little D-rust, but that's about it.
Dan only has 10 total races in this category, and one of them was a couple of them were multiplayers. But we're talking end of 2015, beginning of 2016 were a couple of them. And the rest were just in the tournament's last 3 years. So. But it's got 8 first-place victories among those 15 races. 8 first-place victories, so not a bad winning percentage, even if most of them are just head-to-head, Yeah,
I believe Dan's had pretty good showings this and last year in the tournament. I can't remember what round he made it to last year, but I know he beat Cantaloupe in the brackets, I believe. Or maybe that was actually in the group stage.
Of this year?
Last year. Last year. Yeah. Kind of a comeback win, I remember. And this year, of course, upsetting JSR last round.
Yeah, he beat Fap by 2 seconds last year.
Yeah, that was a race where Fap had a strong lead heading into Valley of Death, and just everything kind of came apart, unfortunately.
And a week
trying to get skips.
A week before that, he beat him by 12 seconds. So yeah, he beat him twice in a week span.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, I can't remember which one was which for the races, but I think they were in the same group, and then they met again in the bracket.
Well, Rez downs Goma.
Yep. Solid fight.
Yeah.
Goma.
What
are you gonna bust out the bow and arrow here?
I'm New York and Italian, and I don't do words correctly, so I'll just alternate pronunciations on anything I say as I punch my microphone. Sorry about that. Digshake likes that sound, so I did it for him.
Got 2 Italians in the booth then.
Yeah, listen.
Except I'm a Boston Italian.
Well, can't all be perfect. There's the ferry by Rez, and this is going to be a free ferry that we were talking about earlier.
Yep. Yeah, I'll see if he makes it. I don't think he's going to make it back. Yeah, so he'll take his level ups on this screen. Sometimes, depending on how much XP you have coming out of that palace, you can get all the way off this screen and save this for the next time you're on a combat screen. Doesn't really matter when you take it. All that's important is that you don't soft lock when you leave that screen. It's kind of the most common place to see a soft lock, actually, because of that.
So does this walk? Is this the river dance that Rez is doing?
Yeah, he set up that. That's why we get the heart afterwards. Sets up that walk perfectly to make this spawn happen right where Rez made it happen. And unfortunately, even though it sets it up perfectly, it does not always give you a good spawn. It just gives you a spawn, and you have to hope. But Rez is going to take his lumps. I'm not sure if he knows his position in the race, but I do know that's... I don't know why he didn't do this on the Reflect Town skips, to be honest, because I know that if he misses that skip in a race, he's just going to go and not try to keep getting it over and over and over again.
I believe Rez does stream snipe during races, and how can he blame him? Largod and Just God and commentary. Like, why would he not be listening? You know what I mean?
Seriously.
And the humble brag. Increment the counter, BGT.
This must hear.
Yeah. Well, Rez is going to take a little walk here into the bridge and then walk backwards. And again, all this is just setting up where the encounters happen and knowing what to do depending on where the encounters show up, like walking north there and around.
Yeah, he got a good spawn on that second one, and he also knew, of course, which tile it was going to happen on. So he was able to just pause there, and yeah.
And Dan places the gem in Palace 5. He'll go and get the heart container now, and he'll do his own walk towards New Kasuto.
Yeah, and we'll see Dan's extra level that he takes here, and we'll see how it affects the XP.
And Rez is almost through Bonner Pass.
You see Dan made it off that screen with almost 1,000 XP to spare, because he just had less leaving the palace. Rez must have had a lot more Magos get in his way for the kills.
And that's why he cast Shield, so he doesn't get hit by the Magos.
Yep.
Still my favorite Rez rant. Was the night he was tilted because of Magos. And Dan gets the encounter, unfortunately, one tile too soon as well. He's going to level up here.
Yeah, just bad spawns for both of them, and bad, I guess, the way they walk. Sometimes they can give you a bad spawn, but just walk away if you get lucky. Alright, so there's Dan's extra level. And he's left with only 800 XP, but does not matter. Because that next level, 3,500, is the next one he's actually going to take. That is Magic 7, so he can just kill nothing or everything or whatever the heck he wants to. The gem will automatically get him to 3,500.
Rez takes the jumping sword stab with shield at 20-degree rotation.
Yeah, I like
pose
that one.
Right
it's
there.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, it's not too flashy, but
Yeah,
it's stylish.
Gets about a 3 out of 5 on a Dig Shake scale, I think.
Out of 5? How
Yeah.
can you rate things out of 5?
Well, I don't know. I don't even
It's
know
not enough
what's
numbers.
good on a Dig Shake scale or not, but we'll assume more is bad. But yeah. So Dan's gonna do the walk now towards New Kasuto. Steps on that tile. Let's see. He doesn't get the spawn where he can go north. There, gets a front spawn, and he's got to eat in an encounter.
Yeah, if he paused a little sooner, he could have made it to the left and then up and around that, possibly, which is what he was trying to do, but he started moving a little bit too late, and they got him. You do got to let him kind of commit, like come in a little bit to you before you start going, but obviously not too much.
And one of 2 screens where casting fire is socially acceptable right there. Dan H casts fire. Gonna go back for the jar. And this way he doesn't have to visit the refill lady to cast shield.
Probably
to cast
saves him a
spell,
second
sorry.
or so, yeah.
Finally finds the right forest tile to hammer, and he's in New Kasuto. So he's about, I would say, 11% on finding things under forest tiles in this seed so far.
Rez taking some bops here. He should be fine though. Low health, but last item we're getting right now is a heart.
Tries the slink there. There's the south slink I think you were trying to set up before.
Yeah, so he paused a tiny bit late, but what he's trying to do is get him, and that one was a little early actually. He's trying to pause right when they're a little bit further than halfway over the tile line, I should say. You don't actually have to pause, that just helps you kind of see where they are, and if you pause too early, you can try to do like a double pause to, line them up where you want them, and then you just go down, and they actually will just go around you. Rez getting... That almost never happens, what's happening to Rez right now. The fact that the encounters got him after blowing the whistle entering 6. You almost never see that. They usually don't follow you.
And Dan H goes with the traditional upstab pose. So I'm going to give that
rise
one.
Up.
3 out of
rise up.
3 out of 5 dig shakes there as well. So both players are equal on the dig shake scale.
Now see if Dan can make up any time leaving. He is quite a bit behind, unfortunately, though.
We'll mention
something catastrophic.
Just for completion purposes, we'll mention that Rez damage boost to jump over that pit there.
Yeah, he well, his XP is low enough where he could have just killed that and done the 4-tile jump, but Rez doesn't really like doing 4-tile jumps too much, so...
He barely made the one in this similar room in Palace 3 before, and he
just barely makes that one right there.
It was basically carbon copy right there, as we're in the Canadian hole room here.
Yeah, and he'll cast jump for that hole, which is also a 4-tile gap that he just jumped over there.
So Rez got to this match by, speaking of Canada, Rez got to this match by defeating Highlander in the round of 16. Or I guess that is the round of 16. And, and Dan H got to this round by defeating Link Hero of Twitch in the opening round, and then the upset on JSR 2 Gamers in the second round, or the round of 16, that brought him into this round, this match against Rez.
Dan gets a nice back spawn because he didn't look like he had any intention of trying the slinks, so I didn't see what happened on the first one. I'm guessing he took an encounter. Yeah, this is normally what you see when you go to, enter Palace 6. All the encounters are just nowhere near you.
Yeah, Rez had 2 sets of encounters on him for some reason at that point.
Yeah, it's very strange. And he took the same path that we normally take. It's pretty straightforward path. You just go down a little bit extra so you can go up and around those encounters like I was talking about earlier. And just for whatever reason, everything followed him. He had the encounter pheromones on. Yeah, Dan does kill that, and he actually casts a jump to get over that hole, which is acceptable as well.
I'm sorry, I have to back up here for a second. Were those encounter pheromones?
Yeah.
It's like Obsession by Dig Shake or something.
Obsession by Dig Shake. Somebody make an emote.
So
Dig Shake pheromones.
Yeah. I mean, I guarantee there's 3 people on top of that right now.
Ode to Hyrule. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to give us your best Hyrule, Link, Zelda-inspired perfume, Dig Shake-inspired perfume names in chat, we'll definitely read them out loud with your name as well. I'll like, favorite, and subscribe to all of them if you do that. But Rez is on his way here. He's going to have to cast Fairy in this room. Does a little bit of a 180 twist.
Yeah.
Greg Louganis style off of that platform.
Red's having a little fun now, yeah.
Yeah, it is breaking down a little bit. Dan H is in the item room with the cross now. And VRez will be at the other Reboneck fight pretty soon.
Yeah, he's got just one more room to get through here, I believe. Or that this is the room, I should say. So almost simultaneous Reboneck fights, even though they're different Rebos. A couple minutes apart in the palace. I'll be heading right over to Barba immediately after here. Another forced fairy cast, and then he's got just enough for jump if he wants to use it.
Dan H does miss the jump there.
Yep, just quickly decides to cast jump, and you can get back up there with some nifty kind of movement without using jump, but it is a little trickier to do, and he would have had to do 2 get back up there with that jump and then do the 4-tile jump again. So he decides to just cut his losses. He's good on magic though, so since he got the red jar back there.
So as Rez places Palace 6, I'll show you guys what the Palace 6 layout looks like. There you
go. Barbara.
And we're on our way to the last town, last spell here. This is another one of those situations where you get a free fairy cast.
Yep. Take magic 7. Dan actually, I'm not sure if he'll get that free fairy cast, because he might end up taking the magic level before leaving the gem room, it looks like, by where his XP's already at. So yeah, I don't think Dan gets the free cast. He might just end up fairing it anyway. So you do get the red jar entering VOD, so you can afford it, but yeah, I don't think he'll be able to make it to that bridge before his level up pops.
And there's the last spell, the required spell of Thunder. So we can beat Thunderbird later on. And required because it is a 100% category, so either way.
Yep. Yeah, if it wasn't a 100% category, you could actually skip it and then just skip Thunderbird as well with some neat glitches.
So you gonna run, learn, or practice any of the other categories in this game?
Yeah, I keep saying I will someday. I do want to try any % someday. It's a whole different game, really. A lot of heavy combat stuff, and then of course the glitching.
So the any percent with the scroll lock.
Yeah, the true any %, yeah. Rez going for the slink there, and he actually gets it, so a little bit of time saved there. Cast life, gets his beams ready.
Yeah, one of the things I watched in his race, his last race that I called in this tournament, was the fact that he didn't use spell, he didn't use really anything. He used his beams in these encounters, and successfully made it through every single one of them.
Yep. Yeah, once you kind of practice these a little bit, and just there's kind of 4 different patterns you can get. There's the large encounters and the small encounters, and each of them has 2 different patterns the MOAs can spawn in. The flying eyeball enemies being the MOAs. And once you kind of learn them all, you just learn the timing of where you need to throw your beam. And then it's just a matter of just reacting to them when they happen, so.
And he did lose his beams there, and you are right, Dan could not get the free fairy cast, because he had to take it at the gem, but he cast fairy anyway, he's going to go through. Yep. It is that red jar that Rez skipped in the Valley of Death, right to the right
he'll
as soon
likely
as you
still
enter.
fairy all 3 bridges, because you can afford it. So Rez not going to be able to use beam on the last encounter skip here. That's okay, he just hops over with a down stab. Maybe it's not okay, he took a couple of hits. And he needs to kill both these enemies to get his XP. His XP is actually still pretty low. He because of the MOA hits. MOAs actually drain XP when they hit you. Ideally, you want somewhere over 5,900 entering here, so you can kind of set up when you take magic 8. Dan won't be able to do that at all, though.
And you want to get that magic level up just before Thunderbird somewhere.
Yeah, Rez ideally would want to do that, but I'm not so sure he's going to be able to. His health is already pretty low, so we'll see how the palace treats him. I mean, if he reaches Thunderbird with still this amount of health, yeah, he'll wait. If he starts taking some early hits, he's gonna probably end up just taking that level and then maybe casting life. He does have the backup life if he wants to take the death abuse. Dan missing the VOD entry there. He's just gonna walk the fence. This is the worst Wilson screen in the game by a million. Just the MOAs flying around just make it horrible. That's why we really try to skip that one.
I love the screen, a couple screens in the town of Kasuto, where there were like 6 purple MOAs.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's 4, but it doesn't matter how many there are. They're always in your face, and it's not fun.
Yeah, you don't ever want to just go through that town. There's just no reason. Unless you want to check the scenery out, I suppose.
There's some nice stuff written on the wall.
Yeah, so Rez killed that red bird knight, which actually gives you 70 XP, so he's back in good position. Could level up, I mean, he could level up on a spicy chicken if he wants to kill one.
Is it going to be 5 short, though, with the 2 mews on the bridge?
Yeah, the 2 ropes will make him short. And I don't know where his blue jar drop is either, so he might also have that, but...
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
So now he doesn't want to kill anything else.
Yeah. He's not going to check for that. I know he's not going to check for that jar. But yeah, if he gets through Bicula here, he'll be able to take his level, if he decides to.
Does a fancy little tink there and gets through.
Yeah, nice moves. See if he kills this rope. He does. So there's his level.
Dan misses the skip here on this one twice, I believe. The last forced encounter in Valley of Death. No, he got that one. Okay.
He got that one. You must have got it by just a hair. So Rez, I mean, he will need more magic, so he'll probably just take the death abuse. He technically has enough for Thunder, but that's it.
Didn't look like with that big bubble, the Bubble Knight, the Bubble King, whatever you want to call it, did not, he just didn't care if it hit him or not, so he might be trying to just drain his health a little bit to get that.
Yeah, he's just gonna ferry over this, and yeah, he'll take the death abuse. The one thing about if you know you have to take it, at least you can, if you have some magic, you can kind of make the last few rooms of the palace kind of easy by using fairy or...
Dan's doing it.
He's doing it.
He's doing it. If you guys have not seen
Dan.
this, we're not gonna say anything, but
yeah,
it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, don't mind Rez. He's just gonna go finish the game. Dan's doing something pretty cool here.
Okay, if Dan can pull this off, I'm gonna subtract 5 minutes from his overall time.
And bam, we are outside.
We did it. He did not go into the cave though, which he did last time, and that made some interesting things happen. like that elevator being up there. It's like, oh, Rez is doing a T-bird fight, but here's the cave. We're on the ceiling.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Yeah. And in fact, the race Dan did this in, he won by about 2.5 hours.
Meanwhile, Rez takes care of Thunderbird about a 1.5 cycle. Didn't quite get the kill he was looking for with the panicking dolphin strats there on the last 4 hits. And here's Dark Link. He's gonna fight him. Gonna fight him straight up. He's got full health. Didn't cast shield.
Yeah, he probably could cast shield.
He definitely could, and he should if he's gonna do this. But we'll see. He's having a good fight. This is really good. Wow. Last hit. Come on now. Oh, man. Finishing out in some swag. That was a really fast fighting. If you guys have Zelda 2 and, like, go try to fight Dark Link like that and see how long it takes you. That was pretty impressive.
It's 77-38 for Rez.
Yeah, his timer has a 34, and well, I'm guessing SRL's 38. Didn't even beat my PB. I'm sure he's upset.
Yeah, he already commented it was trash. Not happy. But then again, if Rez was happy after a Zelda 2 run, I would probably try to find out how.
Yeah, we'd have to ask, like, if something was wrong.
But Dan H is going to finish up here. I wonder how many times I said Dan H today instead of just Dan. Let's see if we can get our winner in chat here. We have our people working on it right now.
Dan's in a little bit of trouble himself with magic and life here.
Dan
he does have
the
jar here if he wants to check for it.
How many deaths did he take in 4? Death abuses did he take in 4 too?
I actually didn't see the last room. Now that I think of it, oh, he's got 3
Yeah, he's
lives.
got
I
3
just
lives.
looked when he paused. Yeah, so he's fine. Even with 2 lives, I'd probably say he's probably okay. Just he'd want to try to stretch that first one out as long as he could. There's a lot of safeties at the end of the palace if you can just make it there, or you know, a few rooms before the end of the palace. You got that ferry, the 1-up. You even got the double red jars chances before Thunderbird if you want to go that route.
And there's a ton of rooms that are just flat out safe where you don't even have to fight anything and nothing even gets in your way either. So
Yeah. Yeah, GP is really, like, other than, like, the enemies that are in there can really, like, do work on you if you get in a bad loop or whatever, but...
Yeah, speaking of doing work on you, Rez joining us. Hey, Rez, how you doing, man? Good game.
Hey, appreciate it, man. What's up?
Not much, man. Why don't you take us through everything there?
Well, Magic Cave, I screwed up. Got a ferry, that was cool. But still got to P1 with 304. Got trolled by the bots, but still got the double pbags and Tech 4. Run was going fine, and then I forgot about my EXP. I can't believe I made that mistake in P2.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, at the end there.
It's been a very long time since I did that. It's just a straight calculation error.
Yeah, one of the commentators, in fact, the only person who does not have a sub 90 was the only person to realize that you were in trouble with the XP, but I didn't have a sub 90, so I didn't really want to say too much about it, but yeah, it was...
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I had to do some quick math to realize that you were like 13 short or whatever it was, or 17 or something.
Yeah, I can't believe I didn't realize that, but whatever. And the run was okay. P3 was okay. Reflect Town was just terrible. Those skips,
Rez.
Wow, we need to talk about the entry into Palace 6 if we're really going to make fun of you about anything.
Oh my god.
Yeah, what was that? I don't know how that even happened. I'm saying that you almost never see that, and
yeah, I don't know what happened there.
like they all followed you, like all of them, both
Pretty
spawns.
much.
Dan had a really good Thunderbird fight right there. I enjoyed the pendulum and dodging of the fire action. I like watching people fight Thunderbird on the pendulum without jump instead of going up there. But you know, I'm just a casual viewer. What do I know?
He actually didn't cast fire with full health. I'm surprised. Cast shield.
Yeah, well.
But he is gonna. Oh, that's because he's gonna fight him just like Rez did. It looks like.
Yeah, well, I
Rez,
mean,
your Dark Link fight was pretty badass, if I might say so.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, the timing of those stabs, they're not too bad once you get them down. You just have to really be in this hitbox to do it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there was ups and downs of the race. Obviously, it was easy to see what parts kind of trolled me where I lost time. But besides that, I can't really complain about my play. Except for the Reflect Town skips, missing the first one. But then they started to troll after that. I got that one spawn that it was like an encounter. It was on the tile that I was trying to skip, but it somehow hit me while I was tiled.
I saw that. The one, yeah, I said something about
so
it, like
mad.
going right over your. I don't know how that did that.
So mad. I was so mad. And then it just got worse from there. So, but yeah, you know, stuff happens. But besides that, you know, good race. That was cool.
yeah, and for sure,
Dan is finished.
Yeah, Dan finished almost exactly 5 minutes behind you, and had the swag Darkling kill just like you. But he also brought up he is here to talk about it. Everyone wants to know about the elevator, Dan.
Yeah, I told me Chad he was doing that. So,
I haven't done it all tournament because all my other races were too close. And, I mean, Rez was at Bicula number 2 by the time I got into Great Palace. So I said, yeah, fuck it. Let's do it.
We got the little bit of the exploration as well, finding out what happens when you go back into Great Palace, finding what happens when you go back into a cave outside of Great Palace. I remember that from last year. Difference was in that race last year, I think you beat Bri by about 2 hours. and you were also showing off all the other stuff in Kasuto and all that. It was a very educational stream. I think it was everyone learned a little bit something that night.
Well, yeah, and in his defense, I think he had probably had about 7 or 8 drinks by the time he played this.
I couldn't notice in the post race.
Was that the match? Was that the match he got on commentary and started like raging?
Yes.
I think so, but that's kind of the proper way to actually run this game is you have to be drunk. So, I mean, everyone that speedruns this game knows that.
Oh, look at JN.
Well, JN is functional when he's drunk. That's the difference.
Wonder if he was drunk for that 75-14 in the race earlier in the tournament.
Oh, God, probably. He just sips on Uzo day in and day out is what I hear. Or what I saw at GDQ, whatever year I was with him. Anyway.
So it was a good race. I mean, 75, or I'm sorry, what did you finish at? I have to look here again. I said 75.
77-35 or something like that. Not that I was paying attention to Reznor's stream, but yeah, that's like a minute 10 better than my best, so I'm not going to be able to touch that even with a 0.3 second PB like against JSR.
Did that end up being a PB?
My race against JSR, yes,
Yeah.
by like barely, less than half a second.
Not even a second.
Yeah,
I'm
Can't even
not
put
gonna
1:18:39.
I'm not even gonna submit it. So
78-44. I think you're on.
Splits?
what was that?
Did you save the splits?
No, I
Or
did
actually,
not.
you probably didn't even. You probably just skipped all the splits because I think that's what you've been doing.
Yes, I did. I usually split at shield and then skip all the rest of them. I don't think I've got a single P-bag throughout the entire tournament in Magic Cave. So, yeah, Dark Trophy has been my life. And then I died in the bubble screen before Palace won. That was awesome.
Ouch. I did that in a race this year against BGT.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot actually this year. I feel like I've seen it several times people have taken an early bubble screen death. Usually doesn't end up costing them, I suppose. I mean, it didn't really cost you at all, Dan, as far as deaths go.
Nah, not too much, especially because I try to avoid all death abuses in Palace 4 in races. So, yeah, it wasn't too big of a deal.
Well, unfortunately, that means you have been eliminated from the tournament, but it was a very good showing, and now you have some fishing to look forward to tomorrow, I hear.
What are you talking about? Unfortunately,
That's why. Well, that's why I lead it out there so you can say like, yes, unfortunately, DFTG.
Oh God, I didn't practice for this tournament, and somehow I pulled a really good race out of my butt last week. But yeah, I've been running about 81, 82, just like this race. I mean, without elevator, this was probably right around 80 and a half maybe. But yeah, that's kind of my typical run.
Well, I wanted to give you -5 minutes for doing the elevator, and if I do that, I think you win by 1 second, if I look correctly.
Yeah,
so
right.
I have to see if Prez will let you win this race based on that alone. But Rez, you're going to be moving on to take the winner of Simple Dude and Cantaloupe Me, Mr. Fap.
I wonder who that's gonna be.
Anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
I think Fap's racing Tiny Toon Adventures right now in the SHI tournament you plug.
Well,
gotta
if there's one thing I can take away from this tournament, I didn't have to play against Cantaloupe because he and I always have a side wager of playing a really, really bad whatever game you want to play.
Has he played Bassmasters yet?
Oh, come on. That's like a swear, man. It wasn't Bassmaster Classic. It was Super Black Bass.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Black
I'm sorry.
Bass.
My bad.
And yeah, he
Come
played
on.
it sometime in September.
I thought he played it recently. I remember him saying he had to play it. He finally did though.
Oh yeah, it was glorious. He was Not all that good at it, but whatever. It's not that easy of a game.
But yeah, so that's about it. Thanks for the races, guys, and best of luck to you in whatever you're gonna do next, Dan, and the fishing tomorrow morning. Hope you catch a lot.
Yeah, catch some of those basses.
No bass in the wintertime. It's kind of fun when you hook into one, but those aren't for eating. Well,
So I
we'll see
imagine
what
you'll
I
be.
could get. First time out this year. The lakes just froze over last week, so hopefully there's enough to walk on. First of all,
Do you ever consider doing an IRL stream on fishing?
no.
Oh,
No.
it's a shame. I'm gonna get somebody
You
to
want
fish
me
on stream
to?
one day.
I could stream it under creative, I guess.
Yeah, why not? Just add some body paint and it's legal because it's art.
Oh God, you don't want to see me in any sort of body paint.
Listen.
It'll be a clothes on sort of stream. Reznor, from what I hear, could pull that off, but not me.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Might have to have a side wager next year if you guys race against each
Oh,
other.
Shoot.
Yeah,
God.
pressure's on. Video. I archive everything, so this will definitely be up there. But thanks a lot, guys. It was a fun race to call, and thanks for letting me do it.
Dan, I hope you make up for the lack of being drunk on this race tomorrow morning from the fishing. Get real drunk.
Afterwards, I for sure will, but yeah, I don't know about during. Anyway, yeah.
Lame. That's the only way to make fishing interesting.
Wow.
Oh, ouch. That breaks
Says,
my heart.
definitely says a
That's
guy
it.
born in New Jersey where if you fish, you get tin cans and shoes.
I did used to fish actually back in New Jersey. You know, you actually did see some good fish around.
Yo, fishing is fun.
Yeah, I used to do it as a kid. I miss it. I would do it again. That's why I said, Dan, I would join you, but I'm about 500-600 miles away at least.
I'd say you're way further away from where you up in Minnesota, right?
Yeah, I'm in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Got to
Yeah,
break.
it's way more than 600
Yeah,
miles.
I don't think his map's to scale there.
I wasn't sure. I knew he's somewhere in the Midwest. I just took a guess.
It's the first word in his profile. It says Minnesota,
It's-
born.
It's all fly. Everything but Chicago, pretty much.
But all right, guys. So thanks a lot again, and best of luck to you.
All right, see ya.
Have a
Later.
good one. And Justin, thank you very much for hanging out here with me and commentating on this.
Yeah, definitely. It was a good time, as
Just
usual.
God.
Just God. But
Rez, please.
yeah, hopefully you get to do it again before the end of the
Oh, and
tournament.
the Lair God.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be able to at least do. We got what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more matches. It looks like to go. One more in this round, and then we got our final 8. So
Yeah, hopefully.
the Error of Lack match is over, even though it's not submitted. I'm looking at the leaderboard there, but Error did win that one.
And
So-
Arrow will go on to face Anti in the next round. So we'll see what happens there, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yep. Thanks, everyone.
You got it. And that's Justin 114, Justin Man 114, Bledsoe Favre in your program. Make sure you give him a follow and give all the runners nice. And give all the runners a follow from the tournament and from this race itself. We got some more races coming up here. I'll just preview them a little bit. Is that REAC? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, I asked him. Yeah, that's what most people say, I
right.
guess.
REAC versus ProJN, the number 1 seed in the tournament. That is tomorrow at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. And then you have f.k.a. Cantaloupe Me versus Simple Dude, the number 2 seed. That is 8 p.m. tomorrow. So make sure you check those out, and we'll see you next time.
See you later.